6 o'clock. I'd like to welcome those in attendance to our regular scheduled meeting, January 19th. Thank you all for coming. I'd like to also tell Commissioner Furr we're glad to have you back, so thank you. I know you've been through a lot. At this time, I would like to recognize Commissioner Barbie for the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Let's all bow our heads. Lord, we thank you during this terrible time to be willing us to get together to do the business of the county. We appreciate your love and concern for us and protecting us, each and every one of us. We know we got inauguration coming up. We hope it's peaceful and everything goes well. Please bless all those involved. Please bless our military. And we thank thee for everything, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Commissioner Barbie. At this time, I would ask that the commissioners look over the agenda, and I'm seeking either approval or adjustments to the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion that we add an update on the vaccines and COVID in Stanley County for the previous meeting.
Okay. So that would be item number 2. Okay. Moving the consent agenda down to item number 3.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Eford. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. At this time, we're going to switch this around a little bit. Public comments, we're not going to wait until the end of the meeting, but allow public comments to be made at the very beginning of the meeting. And I don't have a sheet to where someone signed up, but if we have someone here for public comments, please come forward, tell us your name, and give us your comments. And we do ask that you try to keep your comments to a 3-minute time period.
Good evening, folks. I'm James Williams. I live in Stanfield on St. Ange Drive, and I'm here. I've talked with Mr. Barbie about the water line that's going in on a private road, that it is a private road, and I'd just like to let everybody know that we have tried to get the state to take that road over, and in 2001, I think it was, we had to sign a petition to get the state to take the road over for maintenance, and it had to be a majority vote on that road to do that. Never happened. So I'm here tonight. I'm not here to complain. And if somebody wants water, by all means, I think you should have the right to get water. But I also think we need to do this the right and the fair way. I've got some more letterhead from another gentleman that used to be here a long time ago that told us the same thing. Before you can do anything on that road, you have to have a majority vote to do that. The county somebody sent letters out several years ago stating that if you wanted it, to sign the letter, send it back in. I don't know how many people it was, but it wasn't enough. So I was told by a gentleman named Mr. Wingo, when I seen that they were getting ready to do St. Ange, he said they had 4 or 5 people signed up. That's not what I hear from Commissioner Barbie. He says they have 2. So there's 14 houses in that neighborhood. So I'm just asking, before it's done, let's do it the right way. Let's get a majority vote by the people that live on that road, because if the road gets tore up, no one maintains it but us, me. I go out there and I spray Roundup to keep the cracks from getting bigger and so forth. And nobody else does anything to it. So the road is about this thick, and it won't take, I guarantee it won't take any kind of machinery will tear it all to pieces. And if it gets tore up, somebody's gonna have to repave it, which would be the county of Stanley, I guess. And I don't want to see the county have to pave that road. Last thought, when they come out there to do this, they went down Webb Road, they cut our street, went another half-mile down the road and bored Allen Creek. So my question is, why do you just come in a neighborhood where you think nobody gives a crap, and you can cut that road or do whatever you want to it, and you go down to another road and you bore it? It would have been just as easy to bore that 30-foot road than it would be to bore that 150-foot road. So I'm just asking, before they do it, let's think about it and do it the right way. That's all I'm asking, is just do it the right way. Get a unanimous vote, and anybody that wants water, I say amen to them. You know, there's a time I may want to hook up on the water line, but right now I don't. And all I'm asking is, let's do it the correct way. All right? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here that would like to make public comments? Seeing none, item number 1, debt consolidation. Andy Lucas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Before you this evening is the need to hold a public hearing for the county's debt consolidation and refinancing of a loan. The present value savings of that debt consolidation refinancing is $731,000 for the county over that 15-year loan term. That resolution is in the packet for the board's consideration this evening, but before you take any action on the resolution, you'll have to have a public hearing. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for County Manager Lucas? Thank you, Andy. I declare the public hearing open. Is there anyone here to speak for this resolution? Seeing no one, is anyone here to speak against this resolution? Don't see anyone, so I will close the public hearing. Fellow commissioners, you've had time to review the resolution. It's within your package. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the debt consolidation.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Barbie.
Second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Shuto. Any other discussion? Let's vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Item number 2 was the addition to the agenda, and that is David Jenkins is here to speak about the vaccination for COVID in Stanley County. Welcome, Dave.
I'll say Brian's here as well with our emergency management. If you have other, he may be able to answer questions as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Lohan. Commissioners, good evening. I don't have a formal presentation tonight, but I did want to kind of give you an update on where we currently stand with our vaccination process. We were able to conduct 225 vaccines today. I am very fortunate to have Mr. Brian Simpson, another pair of eyes to help us as we continue to tweak our processes and make improvements through our vaccination drive-through. We're looking again to get to closer to 300. To get to that point, we're making some changes as far as staffing responsibilities are concerned, looking to pull from other county agencies to help us with some of the technological, someone with some tech skills and the data entry piece, and to continue to expand our phone systems and how we schedule our appointments. So overall things are looking up. Our goal is to hit the 1,300 quota by end of Friday. And we are expecting at least another 1,000 doses to put out to vaccinate next week. So, but those processes are coming together for us, and we're becoming better refined, and staff are becoming more comfortable. As far as some of the other numbers are concerned, we're at 176 new cases over the weekend. That's what the latest numbers were today. Currently at 101 deaths, unfortunately, and hospitalizations are currently at 33. With the vaccination process, we are focusing on our 65 and older populations, and based on our latest demographics I have, it's about 11 to 12,000 of people in our population that would satisfy that age criteria. We're also continuing to focus on healthcare workers as well, as they want to be added into the vaccine process. A lot of folks will initially not want to be vaccinated, and they'll change their mind, and we'll get them back into the system and try to prioritize them based on state guidelines. So I'd say a lot of it's us balancing public expectations with vaccine availability, as you're aware, and staff resource capability. So that's been the big challenge for us, especially more so over the past 3 weeks, because the demand for us in public health specifically is even greater now than it was 10 months ago when all this began. And I'll be happy to discuss any more details further about the vaccination process, but that's kind of my high-level overview of where we are today.
You just made a comment about the 65-year-olds and the percentage. I missed that. What was that?
Based on the
percentage of our population, or
based on the latest, I think it was demographics that I had in front of me, it's about 11 to 12,000 individuals that fall in that 65 and older. Commissioner.
and I don't know if you or Mr. Simpson can explain the new procedures we've worked on with the telephone system and stuff like that, and people calling for appointments, and how far out is it for somebody to get an appointment when they call about, and the new procedures. I know you only had 2 phone lines last week, and we tweaked it around.
Correct. We opened it up to 4 today. We have 2 additional phones that are in place, so that gives us the capability of having 6 phones working simultaneously. They were able to queue up, which means they can hold so many people on the hold before we can get a live body or one person to answer and get them on the schedule. We're also purchasing 6 mobile phones to assist with that as well through Verizon. So that would give us a total capability of 12. Now, whether we'll be able to fill 12, get 12 warm bodies to assist with answering that's something we're working on. But that should certainly cut down on the wait times and allow us to schedule out well in advance, several months in advance, as vaccine becomes available. One of the other processes that we're tweaking is when we make some changes to our staffing, we're going to go ahead and try to start scheduling right from when they take the call. Initially, when we're working from paper, we're taking down basic information just so they can get through, then having to make a call back in order to get them on the schedule. So we're still refining some of those processes after we're having more staff available as well.
Any other questions?
And I just want to say that, one of the things we're trying to do, Dave and Brian, is they're trying to tweak this, process is to try to, when we take the phone call, schedule it at the same time. The problem with that is it takes a different type of staff member. Some staff members are comfortable answering the phone, but when it comes into working in a Google form or a spreadsheet, they just aren't comfortable, and so it bogs down the process. So we're having to figure out how do I find resources within our employee base to pull and bring in here for a month, 2 months, maybe 3 months. When the volume of services hasn't decreased, and how do I bring them in here, put them in place so that they can not only answer the phone but also do the data entry at the same time. So we're working as a team to try to figure that out and try to put the resources where we need to. I'd also like to thank the community college. The community college is actually sending volunteers to us, staff volunteers, and that's helping, but some of those, until February 1st, some of those folks are, a couple hours here and 3 hours there, and that's helpful, but in some of these positions, we need somebody dedicated all day long, 8 hours. And so answering that phone, I don't know how many phone calls we answered today, but on Friday we answered 625 calls with 3 people. And so, the call volume is immense. So when people say I can't get through, I'm telling you, we have 11,000 people trying to make a phone call to get a vaccine. So, that's a significant amount of call volume. those are just some things. We're tweaking it every day and trying to get better. I mean, that's the goal, is to continuous improvement, get better every day. We're not settling for what we've done and just saying, well, we're just this, small little county rural health department. We are, and we do have limited resources, but we're coming together as a team trying to brainstorm how do we pull from other departments, and everybody just stepping up. But part of the challenge is getting the right person in that position. Just getting a warm body doesn't work. We've got to be able to get that person comfortable enough that not only can they answer the phone, but they can get into this Google Sheet or Google Form or whatever it may be that we come up with, and be able to look and say, okay, I can put this person on this date in the schedule. And that's, you're talking doing 2 skill sets and tasks at one time, and that's just for some of our employees, that's, they're just not used to that. So bringing them into that is setting them up to fail. So we're working through that.
And I got another question. I guess we're getting about 1,000 to 1,300 vaccines a week at this point?
It's a little hazy on what we're going to be seeing in the future, because we found out last week there was only 120,000 statewide to be distributed. And if there's larger counties that have the resources, yes, sir, that there's larger counties that have the resources to go ahead and utilize them, they may be the first one up to receive that. That's why it's imperative for us that we get all our vaccines out within a certain time frame. So it's expected once you get your set of doses, where it's 1,000 or whatever, they give you 7 days, you need to get those out. So it's imperative that we're trying to get through many vaccines as possible in that process.
Just one other point of clarification. Not only do we have to answer the phone call and schedule, but we also have to enter data into what's called a central vaccine management system, which is something that's done at the federal level. It's pushed down to the state level. That's how they determine whether we get shots or vaccines the following week. On Friday, they make that determination, and by Wednesday, we get them. There were multiple counties that I was on a conference call with Friday afternoon, late into the evening, that were very upset with the Department of Health and Human Services. They had given out a couple thousand shots, but they haven't entered any of that data into the central vaccine management system. Well, the state didn't know they'd given out the shots because they don't have the data in the central. So the only way the feds know that North Carolina needs more vaccine is if the data is in this CVMS, centralized vaccine management system, which is a little cumbersome. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. So then they also I got to have staff to put that in. I think as of today, we had over 1,000 cards that we had to enter into that CVMS system to get them so that we can, on Friday, be able to say, we did this, so that we can get more vaccines. So there's a lot of cumbersome bureaucratic types of things. They're well-intentioned, but there's a lot of layers to this, and it's just not as easy as, we don't have vaccine just rolling up to the back of the building. It's a very coordinated all the way from the federal to the state to the county level. So I think it's important that, citizens understand some of this, that, our folks aren't, they're working extremely hard to try to make it better and to try to get these shots into arms as quickly as possible.
I'm just going to make a comment to the citizens that they need to just be patient. When you look at the numbers, if we're getting 1,000 a week and we have 65,000 people in our county, do the math on how long that takes, and then probably in about 2 weeks you're going to start the second round of vaccines on people, and that's going to complicate things also. So I appreciate everything that you guys are all doing, and just have everybody just be patient, and we'll get through this. I know y'all been working hard out there.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. We also receive calls through some of our desk phones and receive emails as well, as I'm sure you all do. Sure, County Manager Lucas has received as well. When we do our best to go ahead and get them scheduled out and on the list for everyone to get vaccinated. And it's just not our 65 and older population. A lot of people are trying to call in, and obviously they want the vaccine. So we're being inundated from a lot of different phone calls and different folks in the community. So, and Commissioner Shudo, I do have that vaccine hotline number. If it's all right, do you want me to go ahead and provide that now? It's 980-323-0205. So that's our vaccine hotline. That was 980-323-0205. And another piece of good news, we officially today, the Stanley County Senior Center is hosting another testing site. That's for testing for COVID, and that's Monday through Saturday, 9 to 4. And that phone number is 877-562-4850. That was 877-562-4850, and that's for testing. And we have a location now in Albemarle, and we still have our location over at Stanley Community College Crutchfield site in Locust as well.
Dave, I do have a question or two.
Yes, sir.
I do know that there's citizens from Stanley County that are going to Concord or other areas for the vaccination because they say they called and they got in and things gone smooth. Are those folks that are getting vaccinations outside the county, or are you able to capture those numbers? Does the state send you anything saying that we had 10 citizens from Stanley County that was vaccinated in Cabarrus County?
That's an excellent question. We've had some people call and cancel their appointments because they told us they got the vaccine, but I have not seen anything officially, and I'll have to go back and look and see if there's anything out, some type of report that lets us know they have been vaccinated. Again, a lot of folks maybe already go through the portal, the Atrium portal, and they can get the vaccine lined up in another county. So that's probably what you're referring to, Commissioner Lohan. So.
Just a point of clarification on that. That was an issue that was raised on our conference call with county managers across the state late Friday. Was a lot of people are going across county lines to get vaccinated, and a lot of folks in those counties are complaining because those folks are getting vaccinated in those counties and it's taking up spots. But because the federal government's paying for the vaccine, and and there's no cost to it, it's basically boundaryless. So if you want to go to Mecklenburg County and get a shot, you can get, and you're 65 and older and meet their criteria that they're currently giving shots for, you can go over there and get it. And so there's nothing that prohibits you just because the federal government's paying for it. And so it's really like there is no county lines. We're just giving it to whoever calls in and first come, first serve. Get it as many people. And I think the thought process was, yes, that maybe you feel like that's taking away resources from your county, but the more people we get that shot in the arm of, the better, whether they're in Cabarrus County or whether they're in Montgomery County or whether they're in Stanley County. It generally helps all of us because we're a lot of folks just don't stay in Stanley County. You travel around the region, so the more people in the region we get vaccinated, the better. But I think primarily our folks are probably mainly Stanley County citizens, but it wouldn't surprise me if we get some folks from Cabarrus or Montgomery County or Union County that may come up here because it's more convenient. So.
Andy,
we can't turn them away. So
Andy or David, I'm not sure which one will answer this, but thank you for clarification on that, by the way. When it comes time for their second shot, are they going to go back to that place they got it from the first time? For example, if I'd gone to Cabarrus, would I have to go back to Cabarrus and schedule, or would I come to Stanley, or does it matter?
Yes, sir, because that's where your second doses would be. They would be shipped out based on the first doses. So that's technically how that would be handled. Yes, sir.
David, one last question I have. I know after the initial vaccination, I think it's 21 days you wait to get another vaccination. What happens if a citizen decides not to get the second vaccination? Is there any, I guess the negative that I would see is they're not fully immunized.
That's exactly right, Commissioner. We wouldn't be getting the full effect of having the vaccine because, based on the label, it says specifically you need 2 doses of the vaccine. So,
and clarify that for the public, David, because that's not. They wouldn't be fully vaccinated. They're simply not vaccinated. It's a 2-part vaccine.
Right.
If you take it and don't go back in 28 days and decide to wait 35 days, you didn't get the first shot. It was useless.
I've heard it debated a little bit, Commissioner Jordan, and I've heard you may have some immunity, but it's so early and it's so new, it's really difficult to say. But do your best bets to make sure. And sure, if you got the first vaccine, why not get the second vaccine? Please get your second vaccine, absolutely. And the state is assuring that they will have the second doses available and that must be coming from the federal level.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask David, too. It's not the same vaccine twice. It's a different type of vaccine, too.
It would be. So if you got the Moderna the first time, Commissioner Barber, you would get Moderna the second
It's
time.
not the exact same formula, or is it?
It would be, yes,
It would
sir.
be,
It just
okay.
you're getting a second dose of that same formula. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Commissioner.
I don't really have anything other than say thank you. You guys are busting your tail. Brian, thank you, sir. I had a little issue. A lady called me all upset today because she couldn't get through. I reached out to Andy. I said, "Are you having problems with the phone?" He said, "No, just tell him keep hitting one." So it wasn't 10 minutes. She called me back. She said, "I got through." So like Peter said, you just got to be patient. But thank you and your staff, for the hard work. There's no manual for what you have to do. You're just thinking outside the box and want to be as efficient as you can. So my hat's off to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Like I said, what things we're dealing with is not unique to Stanley County. I mean, other counties are dealing with this as well, but we'll work through it, and we appreciate all the support we can get. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian, do you have anything you want to add?
I think he summed it all up.
Okay, thank you. Did somebody say he was eye candy? Oh, me. Okay. I think all the commissioners have had time to look over the consent agenda. Is there any item that you all would like to pull and discuss? If not, what's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Motion was by Commissioner Allman, seconded by Commissioner Jordan. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 7-0. Time for board comments. And I'll start with Commissioner Furr.
I'm gonna kindly try to stumble. I just want to thank everybody for their prayers and their support. By me losing my wife of 30 years. Thank everybody for their support.
Thank you, Commissioner Furr, and we'll continue to pray for you and your family, and we'll also stay in touch with you. So, thank you for being here. Commissioner Allman?
Yes, sir. I'd just like to thank Dave and Brian. Dave helped. I had also, like Scott, I had an elderly person reach out to me this week, and Dave was super helpful. So, and I'd also like to brag on another member of the Stanley County team. Clint was very helpful to me this week. I had a local farmer reach out about some tax issues he was having, and everybody was super helpful and very prompt. And lastly, today I took the Stanley County Community Health Assessment for 2021. So we were talking about surveys the last meeting, and you don't realize how important these surveys are till you start actually making decisions based upon the data. So if you get the opportunity, please take it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Jordan?
Is Clinton in the room tonight? Because
He'll be here tomorrow. He'll be here next meeting.
he thanks the tax man the week after tax man sent out the tax bills. I'm just saying. Fishy. No, I just wanted to say thank you to Brian and or Director Simpson, Director Jenkins, and Andy for putting together what you guys have. I know when Director Jenkins was before this board 2 weeks ago, he had a deer in the headlights look when I said, how many vaccines you think you can give in a day? And he said, Commissioner, I hope we can hit 120. I hope at best case. And with good teamwork and innovation, you hit 225 and you're shooting for 300 a day. That's awesome. Thank you guys and your whole team for what you're doing.
Commissioner Barbie?
I want to thank Director Jenkins and Brian too. Great job he did, and I had to go through the Crutchfield Testing Center Saturday, and they were very efficient, did a great job, and I appreciate it. Hat go off to all those people out there working during this time. So thoughts and prayers are with our fellow commissioners, and let it go at that. Thank you.
Commissioner Eford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is good to have Lane back today, and you know, we're continue to pray for Lane. Good to have Andy back with us. You know, Brian, David, I can't say enough about you guys, and you know, all our hospital workers, our doctors, our nurses. You know, they're just overwhelmed and they're tired. So please get vaccinated if you can. And again, we need to continue to remember those who lost loved ones. I think there were 3 people in Locust that died this weekend. So remember their families and everybody that's going through this thing, and hopefully we'll get through it. And thank you, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Shuto.
Just a couple of things. First, Thursday and Friday, I attended via Zoom the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, their online convention, to try to figure out things that they want to push to, you know, get in legislation and Raleigh. It was actually pretty good. It was better than I thought. You know, the one thing you miss by doing the Zooms, like when you go to these things, you guys know that have been to conventions, is the networking and ideas you get, you know, in between the meetings and stuff like that. But this was actually pretty efficient. And the only 2 controversial ones was about solar farms, of course, and given liability, you know, eliminating liability for farms or something like that. But once I get a recap, I'll forward it to Tyler and Andy, and they can forward it to you to get all this stuff that they're trying to prioritize. And just if I can take a couple minutes, yesterday was Martin Luther King Day, and what I did was, I hadn't read it since college. I decided to read a letter from a Birmingham jail with all the peaceful protests this year that turned into violent riots. I thought it would be good to read because, you know, him and Representative John Lewis, they were so good at resisting fighting back when they were, you know, had Bull Connor sick dogs on them and stuff like that, threw them in jail. And I'll read a few lines that really hit home. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Whatever affects one directly affects us all indirectly. And this one, we began a series of workshops on nonviolence that we repeatedly asked ourselves, are you able to accept blows without retaliating? Are you able to endure the ordeal of jail? I mean, think about the sales pitch you had to give to people to say, come on out and ride this bus with me. We may get beat up and thrown in jail, but then we're going to get on the bus and do it again. This one, and I was born in 1958, and this was written in 1963, so I was alive when this occurred. So that means there's people my age and older who experienced a lot of this stuff that are still alive. When you suddenly find your tongue twisted and your speech stammering as you seek to explain to your 6-year-old daughter why she can't go to the public amusement park that has just been advertised on television, and see tears welling up in her eyes when she is told that Funtown is closed to colored children, and see ominous clouds of inferiority beginning to form in her little mental sky. And then this one about that is when you have to concoct an answer for a 5-year-old son who is asking, Daddy, why do white people treat colored people so mean? When you take a cross-country drive and you find it necessary to sleep night after night in the uncomfortable corners of your automobile because no motel will accept you. And then this here. Throughout Alabama, all sorts of devious methods are used to prevent Negroes from becoming registered voters. And there are some counties in which, even though Negroes constitute a majority of the population, not a single Negro is registered. Can any law enacted under such circumstances be considered democratically structured? And when you think about that, if you weren't registered to vote, you weren't allowed to run for office. And so for generations, laws were made but was everybody representative to make those laws? I mean, this is just and I'll just read his last words. Get to him. It was actually a lengthy read, by the way. It was good. I can't find it here, but it's pretty positive. But anyway, I just wanted to say that so we can remember where we've been, to know where we want to go. And I just hope we just keep these thoughts in our mind. And we've come a long way since 1963. You know, but it seems like every once in a while we step backwards a little bit. And let's just remember that we're a diverse society. The United States of America is a melting pot. So just something to think about in honor of Martin Luther King.
Thank you. I know that we're probably no different in Stanley County than we are throughout the U.S. There's people that want to take the vaccination, but there's also people that are skeptical about taking the vaccination. And the analogy that was used by Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana, I love what he said. He was being interviewed, and the TV person asked the senator, says, how does your constituents feel about the vaccine? He said, well, I'm glad you asked. He said, I was meeting with some the other day, and I asked them, I said, are y'all going to take the vaccine? And they said, no, we're not going to take that vaccine. We don't know what's in it. Well, he said, I looked at them and I said, do you eat hot dogs? And they said, yeah, we love hot dogs. He said, well, you don't know what's in a hot dog either. Take the vaccination. So I'm going to end with that. And I do encourage our citizens, yeah, we don't know what's in it, but we do know that the scientists that have looked at it says it's safe. So take the vaccination. Thank you. We have concluded, except I'm going to ask County Manager Lucas, do you have anything you want to say?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay, and Council Jenny?
No comments, sir.
Okay, thank you. We seek a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion we adjourn and get a hot dog.
I love hot dogs. Who seconded that? All right, Zach Allman. All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.